Once upon a time, but not so long ago, stood a tiny town called Carrot that 6 creatures called their home.
Hugo was a lazy cat who laid in bed all day. Hugo Jr. was the opposite. He always loved to play.
Scribble was their bestest friend, and Hugo was his maker. One day he was scribbling, and Scribble leaped off the paper.
Bob was a musician with a big curly moustache. He loved cheese and bags and his little brush to tame his award-winning tash.
Zog was a lovable monster with a fluffy cloud for a head and 2 long legs for jumping that stuck out of the end of his bed.
Mouse was quite simply a giant but friendly mouse. He loved watching TV and taking a nap. He barely left his house.
And finally, there was Paolo, a penguin who was sad. He'd cry and cry the day away. You'd rarely see him glad.
One day, all the creatures wanted to go to the gym. Hugo Jr. was full of beans and Paolo fancied a swim.
But everybody changed their mind when they saw the trampoline. It was big and shiny and bouncy and new, way more fun than a weight machine.
So on they hopped, all at once, excited and ready to jump. As they bounced, they yelled out loud before a terrible thump!
They crashed through the ceiling and threw so high in the air that they broke through the clouds and the ozone layer.
They soared through the stars and knew they were doomed. As everyone landed, they were on the moon.
They all looked around, proud of their jumping, but how would we ever get home? They were wondering.
Bob had an idea to try jumping back home, but Zog thought it was too dangerous in a zero-gravity zone.
Scribble said to fly back on Paolo, and Paolo thought him insane. He declared out loud to everyone he wished Hugo had drawn him a brain.
Mouse suggested to swing him home by everyone holding his tail, but Hugo Jr. said the gravity pull would make him slower than a snail.
Zog thought he could stand on tiptoe and simply reach for their houses, but his long legs weren't long enough and he nearly ripped his trousers.
Hugo then had a bright idea. He knew how to get them all back. They'd work together and build a rocket to get them on the right track.
They all spread out to find space junk and build their rocket with a click and a clunk.
They admired their work, they hugged and laughed, and decided to name their ship Space RAFT.
They boarded the rocket, happy as ever, and began flying home with no worries whatsoever.
Yet something was wrong, as they'd soon realised. They'd left Paolo on the moon with tears in his eyes.
But as Paolo sat and cried, he saw a light. His friends had come back and saved him, and he squealed with delight. It was then Paolo realised there was no need to be sad. The bestest friends he could ever wish for, he already had.